Folks, let's talk about what took place in St. Louis County, where these folks lifted their mask mandate. They voted. And these people are just beyond stupid. The Delta variant is going crazy. Massive number of cases we're seeing in Florida and Mississippi. And these folks, largely white conservatives, are just totally freaking out as a result of this. Dr. Faisal Khan is the interim director for the St. Louis County Department of Public Health. And, folks, he wrote a piece detailing the kind of names these people called him. Everything other than a child of God. He joins us right now. Dr. Khan, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you, Roland. It's a pleasure to be here.
I read your piece, and I just sat there and I said, again, for folks with language, someone call you a cunt? They were calling you those type of names? Because you were speaking, because as the public health director, your job is to save lives. It's the health of the public.
That is correct, Roland. It was a very disappointing and disturbing turn of events. And, once you've whipped up a crowd of people into a frenzy and played on their worst fears to stoke hatred and anger, and then redirected them at government officials, things escalate very quickly. So it was an experience that left me shaken momentarily.
And so, was it was it during testimony or afterwards, or have people been calling you and emailing you with these vile attacks?
So basically, as a public health official and as a public official, it is my responsibility to go to the county council, the legislative body, whenever I'm asked to, and explain the rationale and the data for public health policy. On Monday, this past Monday, St. Louis County imposed a mask order on our recommendations, my recommendations, based on the alarming data that we were seeing related to the Delta variant. And so I was asked to go to council on Tuesday evening. I was invited there by a member of the council to present information and explain the rationale for imposing the mask mandate. I went in prepared to do just that. But what I walked into was a situation where hundreds of people had been whipped into a frenzy at a political rally outside the venue prior to the meeting and then brought in. So as I looked around, I saw a sea of angry faces. People were clearly upset and fired up. Hardly anyone was wearing a mask. That alarmed me more than anything else because I feared for that event becoming a super spreader event. And so it just went downhill from there. Clearly, this was an orchestrated political theater. It wasn't meant to be an exchange of knowledge or information.
We are seeing this all around the country, led by Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, these conservative talk radio hosts. You had this conservative talk radio host the other day who's actually in the hospital right now on a ventilator because he got COVID. And now all of a sudden his tune has changed, and he wasn't an anti-vaxxer, but he was damn near close. That's the kind of thing that we're seeing.
Unfortunately, Roland, the public discourse in the country over the last 18 months since the pandemic first hit us has just gone from bad to worse. This public health emergency, the worst that we have seen in 100 years, was unnecessarily politicized, and public health officials and scientists have been victimized and identified as public enemy number one. I don't count myself in that list. I'm not important enough or significant enough. My idol, my role model, the man I followed into public health is the patron saint of public health, Dr. Anthony Fauci. And he has been subjected to 10,000 times as, worse abuse. So we really are not in a happy place or a good place right now. People have formed strong opinions based on their political ideologies to the point that the simple act of wearing a mask when you're indoors somewhere around people that may or may not pass or transmit disease has become a political statement. That is a sad reflection on where we are today.
And from your position, can you explain to people watching why cities and counties are going towards telling people, even if you've been vaccinated, wear a mask. There are some who believe that the vaccination makes you foolproof. It doesn't.
No, sir, it does not. That is a very good question, Roland. And I explained this with an analogy of, a battlefield game, which are popular with youngsters these days. The enemy that we're fighting is the virus. The enemy keeps changing its battle strategy and its tactics. It keeps introducing new weapons onto the theater of battle. We, as the defenders of health, have to adapt our strategy and evolve it to match that. And so the situation that we were in November 2020 was not the same as the situation we found ourselves in May 2021, and that's not the same as the situation we find ourselves in July 2021. So when people say, well, you told us this back in March, and now you're telling us this in April, so you don't have any confidence in the vaccines, etc. No, that's not true. This is an enemy that is a shapeshifter, and it changes and adapts and wreaks havoc in many new ways, and we have to be nimble enough to respond to that.
And it's amazing that people don't understand that. And I mean, they still attack Fauci by saying, well, you told us no mask. And it's like, well, things change, things evolve. And you and others, y'all are trying to keep up because people who don't understand, who don't do this for a living, don't realize how when it goes from one person to the next, it changes and mutates and looks totally different down the road. And we actually had scientists on this show in May of last year saying this was going to happen.
Right. And I would warn anybody watching, this is not the end. We are right in the middle of this battle. There are more mutants on the way. They are already hitting parts of South America. Let us familiarize ourselves with the word lambda and pretty much every alphabet in the Greek, every Greek letter after that, pretty much, because that's what viruses do. They find susceptible hosts and communities, particularly amongst unvaccinated or naive individuals who refuse to take precautions, and they cause disease, and they mutate, as you said, and throw off new variants all the time.
Well, this is, it's unfortunate that you were attacked the way that you were attacked. I'm glad to see that you're standing strong, because the reality is there are those of us out here who appreciate folks like you, people who are committed public servants who are trying to do their best to keep more of us healthy and alive as opposed to going to funerals.
Thank you so much, Roland. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot and good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.